Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, The Tried and Tested. As promised, I am reviewing usertesting.com, which if you haven't seen my first video on this, I will link it in the description box below and recommend that you check it out first. Basically, usertesting.com is a website I had been recommended on a few YouTube videos that I should give a go at just because it does seem like a viable option to make money online. It's free to sign up to. It does work in dollars. It is an American company, but you can make money from it. And that ping you just heard there, that was actually a test coming in, as you can see. Funny enough. But basically, it's very easy to sign up. You do have to do a test account first because you have to be approved. Your account does have to be approved. Basically, they just want to make sure that you're not some sort of bot or that you are actually capable of following the instructions. I guess it's just a way of protecting their own branding, making sure that people who want to find reviews and feedback on their products or websites actually have decent reviews. They're not just letting anybody and everybody review their products. So yeah, I think it's just the way usertesting.com protects themselves, just to make sure that you are legit and you can follow the instructions. But I have been signed up to this, I think now about 3 months, I want to say. And I have made money from this, but it has been a painfully slow process. To get from starting to my first test, actually paid test, I think it took me about a month to actually get a test come through into my dashboard. I was signed into it every day. That's what they recommend, that you sign into it every day, just so you're showing as being live and available, which I did. But with that in mind, it took a month for actually someone to give me a test that I was eligible for. I think I had a couple come through, but I weren't eligible for them. I think one I had to be a user of Microsoft Flow, which I could have been, but they did need to see proof that you had a saved document that was at least 2 or 3 months old, and that you just hadn't signed up to it because of the sake of the test. And it's just things like that mostly on here anyway. But there are occasionally a few good things. I had to review an app once, which I did on my phone. And it's just exactly the same as what you do online. Basically, once you accept a test and once a test accepts you, because you have to be eligible for it, it will download a recorder onto your computer or your phone or tablet, which is fine. It doesn't cause your system any issues, and it removes itself once it's finished. And you just talk into it, basically. They want you to talk as much as possible. They want you to speak your thoughts out loud. So if I had a question, what do you think of the colour scheme we've used for testing.com, I would look at it and I would go, the blue's nice. It's a nice cool blue, I guess. It does look a bit plain, because there isn't much on my, desktop. And yeah, that sounds really silly, but that's the sort of thing they want, and that's how you get 5-star ratings. There are videos that you can watch, and tutorials that they do recommend that you watch. There are a few questions in those tutorials, which just ask you if to make sure you're paying attention, but don't worry, it's not going to affect your rating or anything like that. I did do them before I started. I don't think it increased my chances of getting a test come through to me. I just thought it'd be useful to know how to optimize myself, and get a 5-star rating. As you can see up here, I do have a 5-star rating, but that is only because of one test. The other one hasn't actually rated me yet. So just to give you an idea, I'll show you my completed test. I have only done 2. that seems a bit poor. For 3 months, I've done 2 tests and I have made $10 in each one. And for those of you in the UK, which I am, they pay £7.50 into your PayPal account. Now, it's not to say you get that money straight away. You submit the test and then you have to wait however many days it takes for that company to review your test, basically, and then approve it. They have the right to not pay you if they don't agree with what you've done or if they don't think you followed their instructions. In those cases, usingtesting.com also reviews their decision and they would have the final say in those matters. But yeah, basically that is what happens if you don't get paid. I've not had that issue yet. As you can see, I had 1 5-star rating, which was my first test, which I got on the 1st of November. And then my next test came through on the 26th of January. So that's the 11th of January. Sorry, I'm still getting used to seeing dates being the wrong way around. Okay, well, that's not too bad. 2 tests in 1 month. That's an extra £15 that I didn't have. I wouldn't say that there hasn't been plenty of opportunity to have tests. I think at one stage I had about 27 tests in my inventory to do. But the problem is that a lot of them I'm not eligible for. I had about 5 before I started this video and I should have just kept them really to show you, but one of them asked me what products I use, and that was washing machine, refrigerator, coffee machine, dryer, vacuum cleaner, just stuff like that, and I had to pick the 2 that I mostly use a day, and I went for refrigerator and washing machine. But after selecting those options, because it gives nothing away, so you can't tweak it or lie or try and be a bit crafty to sneak your way into the test, I selected those 2 options and it came back saying, apologies, you are not eligible for this test, and then it was removed from my available test list, which is absolutely fine. There are lots of opportunities to do and complete tests. It's just you're not always going to be eligible for them. I will say the fact that I've had this 5-star rating, as soon as that happened, I noticed that I had an absolute influx of tests come through. I mean, I've only been doing this about maybe 7 minutes now, and just sitting here, I've had 2 tests come in. The iPad one is a bit deceiving. I've never been able to do them. Every time I try and use them on my iPad, I get this message. I mean, let me go on it now and see what it says. I get the iPhone distribution user testing Inc. message come up, and it basically says this app has not been trusted on this iPad. Until the developer has been trusted, the enterprise apps will not be available to use. I've tried to go in and trust the app myself, but I think this is something that Apple has to do. It's not something that I can do directly from my iPad. So every time I get an iPad one, I can't do them. And as you've just seen, I've lost that Android one. The Android one is fine, but I do find that it's a bit temperamental. What happens on my Android doesn't necessarily coincide with what I've got on my inventory on when I'm on a computer, for example. Like this morning, I had 5 Android test to complete, and when I logged into my Android app, I had a bit of a problem with it saying I had no internet, even though I was fully connected to the Wi-Fi and my mobile data. And once I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, I only had 2 tests available, which were completely different to the ones that I had on my website and this inventory. So I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure if there's some teething issues on usertesting.com side. But for the most part, I kind of tend to avoid the iPad and Android ones on that basis because I struggle to use them, and the website's the only way that I seem to get along just fine. But yeah, I've only made £15 or $20, which isn't a lot, but that, like I said, that's £15 I didn't have. That's got me petrol for a week, or whatever, or could be helpful towards just a mini savings account or something. I'm not really sure. I mean, £15 is really not much in the grand scheme of things, but that's £15 I didn't have yesterday, so I gotta look at it like that, I suppose. But yeah, I am going to continue on my journey with usertesting.com. I had hoped to make this a bit of a weekly thing, a weekly review thing, to show you how much I've made in a week. But just because with how long it takes for you to get your submissions to be reviewed and approved, and then also how long it takes for you to actually be paid, I don't think I'll be able to do that. So it might be something that if you check back in a month's time, I would have done another one of these, and hopefully have made a bit more money. But yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 5 star as a review for myself, I guess. If there was more opportunity to make more money, I definitely would have given it a 5 out of 5 star. There's nothing wrong with it. I do really like it. Like I said, I've made money with it, so I know it works. It's just a shame that it's not as much as I would have liked. I know what the reason that attracted me first of all to usertesting.com is the fact that there was loads of YouTube videos out there of people actually saying, oh yes, try usertesting.com, you can make up to £100 a day. Absolutely not. There is no way you could make £100 a day even if you were eligible for every single test that came up. There's just no way. So take that as you will. I'm not saying these people are liars. It might be purely dependent on where you live, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, because I've had tests asking me if I live in Australia before. But with my experience and what I've seen, I've made £20 in a month, so, well, £15 in a month, so but yeah, check back in a month's time, guys, if you are interested in this sort of thing, and hopefully I would have made more money. But bye for now.